Hey, Harford County. I'm Emily Adolph of The Soul Lift. You may remember me as a guest on Rich's podcast. Well, I'm back with something special.
And I'm Ona Crow. We're introducing Nourish and Connect, a gathering space designed to bring people together that feels authentic, supportive, and uplifting.
This is about real relationships, shared wisdom, and growth.
Our gatherings nourish with mindful experiences and reflective activities to leave you inspired.
And they're designed to connect with intentional conversations and welcoming community where you truly belong.
They're the second Wednesday of every month. Join us on April 9th at Doss Beer Hall in Bel Air from 5:30 to 7 p.m. to celebrate spring.
And mark your calendars for May 14th and June 11th. We have amazing experiences planned for summer.
Come as you are and let's grow together.
Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch affairs
It's probably the least sexy part of organizing. That's okay. No. The truth is.
Welcome to Conversations with Rich Bennett. Today, we have a special guest who's bridging the gap between science and creativity in the world of marketing. Ethan Decker. With 20 years of experience in brand strategy, advertising, and market research, Ethan has worked with some of the biggest brands out there, and I'm going to let him tell you which brands. He's presented internationally at SXSW and TED, but what makes Ethan truly unique is his background. Before marketing, he was an urban ecologist with a Ph.D. in complexity theory. And we're going to dive into what brand science really is, how businesses can grow effectively, and what we can all learn from the way people interact with brands. And you've all heard me talk about marketing and getting your brand out there a lot on this. And this, take everything that you can from Ethan. Take your notes because this is going to be a fun one. So how's it going, Ethan?
It's pretty good, Rich. It's pretty good. It's a beautiful day.
I got to ask
here.
right away, though, what is an urban ecologist?
Yeah, that's a funny one. I started actually studying, culture and society, and I studied sociology when I was in college back in Ohio. But then, I don't know, I got the bug in graduate school to study ecosystems. It was another one of my loves. And,
okay.
And then I fell in with the group that actually was looking at ecosystems of cities, urban ecosystems. And there are kind of two ways you can do it. One way is to count the insects in a city, so you're still doing, well, not count all of them, but you do a survey and you look at, the wildlife in a city. Mine way was a little different. It was, what if we treat the city as if it's an ecosystem? Including all the humans, right? Including all the buildings.
Right.
It's like an integrated ecosystem in the same way that like a lake is an ecosystem.
Okay.
And you can kind of draw a boundary around a lake and the shore and the input and the output and the creek and the stream that flows in and out of it. And then you can measure the lake and how much phosphorus is in it or how much nitrogen is in it, right? And what kind of transformations happen when stuff falls into the lake and then the algae blooms.
Right.
You can do the same thing with a city. It's just weird because it's us. And then you're studying the phosphorus that comes into a city or the carbon that comes into a city.
Oh, yeah.
And then the carbon or phosphorus that comes out of a city through the sewage or through the ozone and the stuff that comes out of all the tailpipes of the cars in the city. So that's what I
Wow.
studied. I studied like how cities work as ecosystems.
So why didn't you stick with that and get into that field?
I don't know. I think it was looking more and more mathematical and quantitative, and that was just not my jam.
Okay. So in that case, what made you decide to get into marketing?
I kind of fell ass backwards into the marketing piece. I wasn't quite sure where to go next after studying ecosystems. And I had all these other things. I mean, I wrote musicals when I was younger.
Oh, come on.
No, I did. I was a geek. I was a theater geek. 100%.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I was a songwriter myself when I
Oh,
was
nice.
younger. Yeah.
Nice. What's your instrument?
I started off playing drums when I was 5. Went from drums to keyboard to guitar to bass, and bass was probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I quit back at, I'm showing my age now, so I quit playing bass back in 1986.
Oh, man.
Because it was just, arthritis was setting in. It was
yeah. It takes a toll.
Yeah. So I went to DJing instead.
Hey, tell me if this is true or not. I just talked to a dude who's a bass player in a jazz band here up in Boulder. And he said, if you got to pick an instrument, pick bass because you can always get gigs.
Everybody's always looking for a bass player.
There you go.
I got one. My kids got me one years ago for my birthday and Father's Day. So nice. I need to pick it back up because my son's a hell of a guitar player.
Oh, sweet.
He could play any instrument. I always say he's Stevie Ray Vaughan reincarnated. He's that good on guitar.
Nice.
And I would just love to be able to jam with him.
Yeah.
He DJ'd with me for years. And we
cool.
Since then retired from doing that. Because he can't commit, and I can't carry all that equipment, man.
What a great connection! What a great connection to have with your kid, though.
Oh yeah, but that's one thing something about the jazz players that play bass.
Yeah,
I've always been amazed by them.
Oh yeah,
and that's something I would love to do.
Their chops, their skills are just incredible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was playing in a rock band. I always played rock, but to play jazz.
Yeah. I never did play jazz. Mostly for me, it was either rock or folk or show tunes.
Yeah. I could. That's a whole nother conversation because I could talk music for hours. Hours. Everything, especially, when you talk show tunes and everything, of course, Andrew Lloyd Webber, one of the greatest. And I remember, you know what? Never mind. Let's get back to it because like I said,
next episode we'll talk
exactly.
music. Yeah.
I gotta say this though. When it comes to Phantom of the Opera, there was nobody better than Michael Crawford.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fair. That is 100% fair. Yeah,
just saying. All right, so you fell ass backwards.
Fell ass backwards into marketing, and I fell there through market research, which was really the gateway for me. Somehow, I looking around for some stuff to do, I got connected with actually an old person from my alma mater who was running a little market research firm, and they were doing global quantitative market research for big brands like Intel and Unilever and Degree and Axe deodorant. And I had this weird combo of doing qualitative research, interviewing people, or running focus groups. I was able to do those things, but I also had these skills for quantitative research from my background in ecology. So they let me come on board, and I traveled around the world, went to China and Japan and Russia and Germany.
Oh, wow.
Doing market research for these big brands. And then from there, one of my clients tapped me and said, "Hey, do you know any brand strategists?" And I said, "No." And then he kind of punched me in the chest and said, "Do you know any brand strategists?" I was like, "Oh, you mean me? Me? I don't know what brand strategy is." He said, "Well, I think you'll be fine." So he took me on, and I became a brand strategy guy at an ad agency. And from there, I was stuck in ad land for 15 years doing advertising and marketing for really, really big brands as well, like Tide and Gain detergent and Gillette. And
Wow.
so a lot of big brands, Duracell batteries, Naked Juice was one of them.
Wow.
Kellogg's, worked with Kellogg for a long time. So a lot of really cool, great big brands. And this is coming after also working with folks like Nike and folks like the Discovery Channel. We did a whole rebranding for the Discovery Channel 15 years ago.
Wow.
Helped them go. It was a great project. That was really fun, Rich. The assignment was basically like, look, we know our shows are great. People love Man versus Wild. People love Shark Week. Come on, they go apeshit about Shark Week.
I know, yeah.
But then when they think of Discovery Channel, they think it's like PBS.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you make our brand up to date with our shows? Can you make it as fun and exciting as Shark Week, or as fun and exciting as Dirty Jobs?
Yeah.
Right?
God,
Mike
I
Rowe.
miss that show.
Oh, such a great show. Mike Rowe
He's
is
from
so
here.
good. Is he?
Yeah. Overly,
That's cool.
I believe.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was such a cool assignment. And we ended up with this great idea and a great way to crack it, which was basically Discovery Channel needs to be the biggest fan of the world. They need to just exude fandom like Steve Irwin, the Australian dude who's like, crikey, look at this thing. Oh, it just stung me. Isn't that fantastic? That's how he rolled. And he, right to the end, when he was literally, I think, stung to death. But man, his spirit, his joie de vivre, as Mike Rowe might say, his like passion, the brand needed to exude that. So we created this cool ass campaign and updated their logo and made it look like this is a brand that's just in love with the world and the world is just awesome. Holy shit, look at that.
Right.
And they loved it. So we ran with that for a while. That was a good one. That was a great campaign.
Hey, and look how big they are now.
Yeah, they're doing great. They gobbled up so many networks and so many shows. Discovery is a monster.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So you got into that. I take it you're out of that now? You're out of marketing?
I'm still in marketing, but I'm not in an ad agency anymore.
Okay. Just something about advertising that is, it hooks you.
Yeah, it can.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember when I was in radio, one of my favorite things to do was writing copy.
Yeah, there you go.
I missed that. So can you break down what brand science really means and how it applies to businesses in a practical way?
Brand science is a completely made up thing that I made up.
I figured as much. Okay. But it makes sense. I like it.
It summarizes a lot of stuff that's out there that just doesn't have a home. And let me explain. A lot of people know the concept of data science. Data science is when you are Google and you look at billions of data points about what people search and what they search on in their underwear from their own home and where they search it, right? Are they on mobile? Are they at the store and they're searching for a product while they're at the store, but they're going to buy it somewhere else? Like all that, thousands and billions of data points. That's data science where you start analyzing that. Brand science, sometimes also maybe called marketing science, is when you're looking for the laws. You're looking for the physics, the laws of physics, the laws of gravity of how brands work.
Okay.
Not because you got to analyze 3 billion data points and find out, what brand of toilet paper Rich is most likely to buy. But instead you're saying, what do all shoppers do? What do all brands have in common? What are the laws of physics of brands? That's brand science. And then it turns out there is a physics of brands. There are universal laws. Most people who run brands, they bristle at that. They're like, not me. My brand is different. My category is different. No, it's different in hunting. Hunting's different. Hunters are different. I was like, no, hunters are a lot like golfers. And they're a lot like people who buy mascara. And they're a lot like people who read books. Like they're these universals. And that's been the really cool thing of being a guy who used to do science, who's now doing marketing, is that there is a science to it. And I get to bring that to people, but I bring it in a really fun way. I don't try to make it as dry as possible. I try and make it as interesting as possible.
So you're the John Taffer of marketing.
Okay, I'll take that. But who's John Taffer?
You ever see Bar Rescue?
I know Bar Rescue. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, John Taffer, because there's a science to it. And he explains it all. And I like this, though, because, with marketing, and marketing's evolved over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. And now you have the smart devices, which you got to think of marketing for that as well.
Yeah. Well, and most people who do marketing, they don't get into it with a background in training and marketing. They're just trying to run a damn company.
Yeah.
Or they just joined a brand and they're working for them and they're not trained in all this stuff. So it's like the folks that John Taffer helps. They're just running bars and they don't have degrees in bar management and know the history of bar development and all the laws and science of bar operations. So that's why they need that outsider to come in and say, okay, we've seen a few hundred of these cases before, or a few thousand of these cases before. Here's what you got to know.
Oh, he's amazing too.
Yeah, he's good.
Simply amazing. So what should brands actually focus on then to build long-term success?
All right. So here's one of the surprising laws of brands. And it's pretty darn universal. Big brands tend to have more customers, and that's not super shocking.
Right.
But they also have higher loyalty in the sense of repeat purchasing or what's called a share of wallet, like what proportion of your wallet in that category goes to the brand.
Right.
So big car brand, Ford, right? Ford is a huge car brand. They've got a lot of buyers. And they have about 50% of people who buy Ford will buy another Ford the next time they go shopping for a new car. And 50%, it sounds terrible, but that's a pretty good loyalty rate.
That's good.
Given how many brands are out there. Like you could change to a Toyota or a Honda or a GMC. There's so many choices, but half the time people will repurchase a Ford.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a small brand, like Mini Cooper, right? First of all, you have a lot less customers. Obviously, you're just a smaller brand. You have fewer stores, you have fewer models, and therefore you got fewer buyers. But here's the deal, Rich. A lot of people believe that Mini Cooper has this mad loyal following. And that when you're a Mini Cooper person, you're just categorically different than a Ford person or a Toyota person. Turns out, over and over in every category, the small brands have lower loyalty and lower repeat purchase rates. So if you buy a Mini, and I don't know, I could see you in a Mini. Yeah, I could see you in a Mini.
Oh, God, no. I like pickups, man.
All right, Mini doesn't make a pickup.
Give me the old cars.
Yeah. F-150s.
Although I am surprised how big those Minis are inside.
They are they are surprisingly. I'm 6'1" and I can fit in one.
So
it is a shocker.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: only about 25% of people who buy a Mini end up buying another Mini next time they buy a car. So it has half the repeat purchase rate of Ford, and that flies in the face of this mythical belief that there are these small brands out there with passionate, loyal fans. They tend not to exist. Even the ones that seem passionate, like Mini Cooper, that's one, or Alfa Romeo is another one where people are like, wow, they've got such great, passionate fans. Well, yeah, they have 12 passionate fans or 15 passionate fans. It's true. But the rest of them are like, yeah, that was a nice Alfa Romeo. But next time I'm buying, I'm going to go back to BMW.
Right.
Which is a bigger brand.
Alfa Romeo doesn't make as many cars as they,
Right. That's a big piece of the puzzle is big brands often have bigger offerings.
Right.
They sell more stuff. You can buy Toyota makes kind of everything. They've got minivans, pickup trucks, SUVs, of course, sedans. They still make sedans, hatchbacks.
Yeah, because Ford don't even make sedans anymore.
No, they stopped.
I think the only car they make is the Mustang.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's one of those laws that is pretty universal, and there's a name for it. It's called the Double Jeopardy Law. And it's that small brands suffer twice. They're in jeopardy in two ways. They've got fewer buyers and they've got lower loyalty. Fewer buyers and people that buy them less frequently. So it's a law. And if you think you're going to be some small sneaker brand or some small car brand or some small fishing brand, and you're going to have passionate buyers who buy you a ton, you're fooling yourself.
Right.
If you want a lot of repeat purchase, you got to be the biggest brand in the category. That's pretty much the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, and now I'm going to think of like small businesses.
Uh-huh.
What do you think some of the biggest mistakes they make when it comes to marketing is?
Yeah.
If they even market first.
Right.
of all.
Well, here's how that plays out. Let's say you're a small business. You're a tax company, or you got a bait and tackle shop, or you're a DJ.
Right.
Right. And you think you're going to have just passionate, loyal people that buy you over and over again, and that come back over and over. If all you focus on is loyalty, you're not going to do great. In fact, you're probably going to suffer because the laws of brand physics tell you that small brands don't have a lot of repeat purchase, you know? And so what you need to do is acquire new buyers. You need to cast a bigger net because they're going to come back less frequently. So you should, there's another lie. It's a pernicious, it's like a zombie idea in marketing that it costs 6 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain a current customer. And that's
interesting.
It's actually a myth. It's not true.
Right. Okay.
It usually costs just as much to retain someone as it does to acquire someone. And that the healthy thing to do is keep acquiring new people, or always keep that pipeline going.
Okay.
So if you're a small bait and tackle shop, you constantly got to let people know you exist. You constantly got to bring in new folks. It's going to be really hard to maintain a good business just on repeat purchase. So let people know you exist, remind them all the time that you exist, and get the word out there, because you need new customers. Everyone needs fresh meat.
With that, and this is something I've always mentioned, and I was guilty of this, and I'm talking strictly about small businesses right now, and the branding part. Do you think it's important that the owner puts their face out there? Especially if it's a very small, or even a solopreneur. Because, I mean, my personal belief is the way everything has changed throughout the years, people are going to fall in love with the person when they know the person and not the logo.
The individual personal connection can be very powerful. 100%. And for small companies, I'm a small company. I'm a small business. My company's called Applied Brand Science, because that's what I do. I help you apply the brand science to your company. But most people just know me as Ethan. You know, they don't think of the company name. So in that regard, you're right. Having a face, being the face of a company can be really, really good. It can also be really challenging. Like right now, Elon Musk is the face of Tesla and the face of Twitter. Well, X. And that cuts both ways. Some people love him, but a lot of people don't love him. And so having a face associated with the company can be dicey. I think there was a similar turn with Papa John's. The John himself got in the hot water, and it became a problem.
I didn't realize that. I was just wondering why you're not seeing him anymore.
Yep. He got axed. He got cut out because things became problematic. But as a small brand, I think it can often be really good to have your face as part of it, and because your spirit, your personality, it's deeply embedded in your company. Right. You're a small business owner, so I think of things like the local attorneys, the injury attorneys. You know, call Frank Azar, the long arm of the law.
Yeah.
And that can be really good. But also, I think it's important. This is very not technical at all, but it actually comes out of the science. You got to be interesting because you got to be memorable. Because usually your biggest problem is people don't remember you at all.
Right.
As a small business, people don't know you exist. I mean, maybe if you're like the only bait and tackle shop in town, then yeah, people know you exist and you're the one. I don't know why I'm picking bait and tackle. In that town. But then you got visitors, or if you're on a creek, you got people coming through, tourists. How are they going to know you exist?
Yeah.
Or even if you're a coffee shop, you know, you're a local coffee shop, you're not Starbucks, you're competing with Starbucks, and you're competing with Nespresso at home.
Yeah.
And you want people to remember you exist because it's unlikely that everyone in the city even knows what you sell and that you're there on, 16th Street. So
do you think that's a problem with a lot of small businesses where they don't market outside of their area?
I think I think
or
they don't
advertise outside of their area. Either way,
they just don't market enough. Let's just say they don't market enough, whether it's in their precise area or it bleeds out a little bit beyond that area. They usually just don't market enough.
Yeah.
Like if you have a business that has a delivery thing,
right.
Like you got a truck, you are a fool if you don't wrap that truck in your branding.
Oh yeah.
And make it obvious what it is and make it maybe even a little funny or quirky.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a truck here in Boulder recently. It said something like, "We get poo." I mean, it's a poop removal service, and they swing by your house if you've got a passel of dogs, and they'll clean up the dog shit.
Yeah,
but their truck is covered in poo jokes, big letters too. So just like one on each side. There's no confusing that truck with anyone else. There's no confusing what it does. And it makes you laugh when you see it.
It makes me laugh just hearing about
it. Totally. But that's really big and bold and kind of in your face. And it has to be because most people don't know they exist. Most people don't even know they exist.
It's a great tagline too.
Yeah.
I would have that on a shirt, on my business shirt.
Totally. I love that. If you can come up with something interesting enough that people want it on a shirt or a hat, then you're on to something. And most people don't. They want to be too precise. They want to have a brand story. They want to do something that's meaningful and detailed, and there's too much detail. Make it clear. Because the other thing, Rich, like you said, people don't advertise enough because they assume everybody has already heard of them by now.
Right.
Oh, they already know about my coffee shop by now. They already know about my landscaping service by now. They already know about my bait and tackle shop. They already know about my tax attorney services. No, they don't. They don't. Even in a small town. Believe you me, there are a lot of people who have no clue about you.
Well, and the other thing that a lot of businesses don't realize, I know about my tax preparer. I use him all the time. But if I see an ad for another tax preparer that catches my eye and I learn something, I'm leaving my tax preparer and I'm going to try this new one.
Totally.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Totally. No, they don't.
I don't. It baffles me. And I've never understood that.
Yep.
But
it's the assumption that people already know about us. Because you know what? You think about your brand all damn day.
Yeah.
When you're a business owner, and this also applies to the biggest brands I've ever worked with, like Gillette. It's a global brand. The Gillette folks think, breathe, eat, and sleep Gillette. I mean, of course, they're worked to the bone too. It's a big company. They pay them well, but they buy all their time. But Gillette people think about Gillette all damn day. You know who doesn't think about Gillette all damn day? Everyone else.
Right.
All of us. Even the most devout Gillette users, even the most consistent Gillette people. The Gillette guy who's used Gillette since he was a little kid when his dad gave him his first razor. He uses Gillette all his life. He doesn't think about it as all day. He barely thinks about it at all. And that's the biggest challenge I see with marketers is you have to remember that nobody thinks about your brand as much as you do.
Right.
And then you have to behave that way. How do you connect with someone who doesn't think about your brand all day, who barely remembers which color your logo is? You know, like I ask people all the time, what toilet paper do you use? And half the time they don't remember.
Wow.
They're like, well,
I am picky when it comes to that.
Oh, you know your brand? What's your brand?
Mine is Charmin Super Strong.
Charmin. Oh, you even know the flavor. Super Strong. Right?
I love that.
Some people like the cinnamon Charmin. Some people like the Super Strong.
Yeah. The Bounty select size towels.
Oh, dude, listen to you. Okay, Charmin Super Strong. Do you remember? And what's the logo for the Charmin?
It's the bear.
There you go. What color is the Super Strong one?
Red and white.
Red. Okay, so Super Strong is red, and then Super Soft is the other color.
The blue. Yeah.
Blue. Dude, you get an A. But here we go. So first of all, again, I've asked people around the world when I do my trainings, I do brand trainings, and I'd say over 50% of the people don't remember exactly what brand they use. Now, sometimes it's because they don't buy it. Their spouse buys it. But now here's the next question. Do you know where your toilet paper is manufactured?
That I do not know.
Is it made in America or Canada? Or China?
Toilet paper, I would say probably, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if it's made in either Canada or Mexico.
All right, here's another question. Do you know if Charmin supports any cause?
I know they used to, but I'm not sure.
Okay, have you seen any?
Know.
Do you know which social media platform they're most active on? Is it Twitter or Instagram? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Do you follow them on any social media?
No.
Okay. Do you know their CEO?
I just love the TV commercials with the bears.
Totally. Do you know who their CEO is?
No.
All right. Do you know if they're poisoning rivers where they're getting their pulp from?
Ooh, no.
So, okay.
Damn, I never thought about that though.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Right?
Wow.
Or do you know if they have any women on their board of directors, or is it all men?
No, I don't know.
All right. You know what's great? You don't have to know shit about any of this stuff.
Right.
All you need to know is you like it and you know where to find it and buy it.
Right. Okay.
But a brand will think that consumers think about all this stuff. But they don't.
Interesting. Okay,
right?
Yeah.
We know very little about the products we wipe our butts with every day. And that's fine. That's as it should be.
Yeah.
Right?
I never thought we would get on a conversation about wiping asses.
Oh, the places you'll go.
But again, I mean, that's what I love about marketing and advertising. Because you come up, I mean, in all honesty, the biggest thing I remember about Charmin is Mr. Whipple.
Oh, yeah.
Don't squeeze the Charmin. One of the greatest things of all time.
It's a killer.
And what was the other one? Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, but Mr. Charmin was a killer campaign. You're right. Mr. Whipple. But for those listeners out there who have no clue who Mr. Whipple is, you got to look up Mr. Whipple. Don't squeeze the Charmin. It's classic.
God.
It ran for like 15 years.
Yeah, they were great commercials.
But
commercials. You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. You know, as someone who runs both Harford County Living and, of course, my podcast, Conversations with Rich Bennett, marketing is critical. I've had plenty of companies approach me over the years, but Clever Cat Marketing, they're different. Why? It's simple. They actually care about you, not just your business. When I partnered with Clever Cat, it wasn't about numbers or profit margins. It was about a genuine relationship, understanding my vision, and building strategies that truly resonate with my audience. Their focus on client success over profit really sets them apart. They take the time to learn what's important to you and craft solutions that fit your needs, not a cookie cutter approach. Whether it's social media, SEO, or brand strategy, I trust Clever Cat with all my marketing needs. So if you're looking for a marketing company that puts you first, reach out to Clever Cat. You won't regret it. Visit clever-cat.com and experience the difference for yourself.
So I bring all this up because this is brand science. Brand science says that people don't think about brands all day long. Mm-hmm. People can barely remember where their car keys are, much less which brand of olive oil they got last time or toilet paper that their spouse buys. And that's normal and that's okay. And if you can embrace that and you realize that you need to get new customers, then it requires you, and this is not a brand law, but this is an implication of the law. It requires that you focus on being simple, being easy to remember, and bringing in new people because they're going to leave you and forget about you all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's why the bears are great, right? The Charmin bears.
They're awesome.
They're easy to remember. They're cute. There's a whole family of them. I mean, I think it's a little saccharine. I think it's a little too cheesy. It's still kind of, PBS Saturday morning.
It makes sense though, because what is it that, people always say? Does a bear shit in the woods?
That's right. That's right.
So whoever was in charge of this campaign, brilliant.
Do you ever hear that joke about the rabbit and the bear having a talk in the woods? So this rabbit hops over to a bear and the bear is taking a shit and says, "Hey," and the rabbit decides to take a shit too, and they both kind of shit pellets. And the bear says, "Hey, does your shit ever stick to your fur?" And the rabbit says, "No, never. Why?" And the bear says, "Oh, just asking." Picks up the rabbit and wipes his ass with it.
Oh, God. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep. So many reasons the bear is great for Charmin, but it makes it simple, makes you remember it.
Yeah.
If your spouse buys the toilet paper most of the time, but you're suddenly forced to go out and get it, you can be like, "Oh, right. I remember we get the one with the bears."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the angel.
No, not the angel one. Yep.
Have you ever thought about writing a book about all this and helping people?
You are onto something. And yes, I'm working on my first book right now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's going to be an intro to some of the first few laws of brand science. Absolutely.
Great. Did you set a deadline yet?
Yeah, but I passed it. I blew through it. So I got to set a new one. I'm hoping that the book will be out this summer.
Okay. Well, yeah, you definitely got to let me know when it does.
I will.
Because I love reading books about marketing. I love learning more about that and advertising. One of my favorites of well, never mind. Again, that's another podcast. Anyways, what's one thing? And I'm focused on small businesses because I got a lot of small business owners that listen to this.
Great.
But what is one thing that small businesses or entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, can do right now to improve their brand strategy?
Well, I think we mentioned, first of all, focus on getting new people. Mm-hmm. Instead of just loyalty. The loyalty trap is kind of a recipe for a dwindling business. So always be focusing on getting new people. Secondly, simplify what you put out there. And I won't even say the phrase simplify your message because it's not necessarily a message. You might just need color. Like there's a tree service in Boulder. Tadican, interesting name. But they have red trucks with a beautiful branch painted on the side. This huge, like tree branch.
Right.
And the red truck with the tree branch, you see that in town all the time. And it simplifies the communication of like, oh, we cut down trees. And they've got a wood chipper coming off the back of most of those trucks, but the red truck with the branch, it's like the Starbucks logo.
Yeah.
You don't know if she's a princess or a mermaid or what, but it's simple and it's always green and white. So make your stuff simpler. And then the third one, which small business owners can do, as we've already alluded to, is make it interesting. And ideally interesting enough that someone might literally want a t-shirt from you or put it on a cap. I'm a small brand and I have two things which I have developed that fortunately are so interesting people steal it from me. One of them is my logo. And if you can see this, how would you describe that?
It's like a combination of a jackalope and a frog.
And yes, and a jackalope itself is a combination. Even in its name, it's a jackrabbit and an antelope. Right? Jackrabbit with
a frogalope.
This is yes, it's like a frogalope. But it's not antelope antlers or antelope horns because antelope have horns. It's elk antlers. So it's frog elk. It's a frelk.
I like that.
It's a frelk. It's not a jackalope, it's a frelk. It's a frog with elk antlers. And this logo, people steal my shit all the time. And now I've got stickers with it and I've got chocolate bars with it. And I got t-shirts I give out and hats I give out. People love the frelk. And it's so interesting that my clients who might not call me for months because I do brand training, they will carry around my mug that I sent them with my frelk on it because it's adorable.
And people are asking about it.
And they're asking about it and they're remembering me. They're thinking of me because the frelk is cute. And then the other thing I have is my tagline, which is Science AF, which stands for Science as fuck. And it's from slang. And the slang is like, oh, that's tasty AF. That's, or, oh, she's hot AF, or that car is sweet AF. Like that, that's where it comes from. So it's a funny twist to take something geeky like science, say, oh, it's Science AF.
I like that.
And the same thing. People steal my Science AF t-shirts and they love the Science AF stickers. And it helps them remember me a hell of a lot more than my stupid brand name, which is Applied Brand Science. That's boring. They don't want to wear a t-shirt that says Applied Brand Science, but they do want to wear
frelk.
Right. They want a frelk on their shirt or they want a Science AF shirt. So that would be my third. That was a very long-winded way to say the third thing.
I love that though.
Small businesses can do is do something that's interesting and that people like, that they'll laugh about, or they'll want to get the sticker, or they'll want to get the cap. Here's a great example. I think it's such a missed opportunity for most breweries, brew pubs and breweries. There's breweries everywhere now.
Oh yeah.
And, Left Hand Brewing, Upslope Brewing, Finkel and Garf Brewing. And then you go to see their merch and it's just their logo. I don't know. I mean, I might like the brewery that much, but usually I don't want the brewery's logo on my shirt or my hat.
Right.
But if you put something funny there, like, beer is proof that God loves us.
Yeah.
That's a funny shirt. I mean, that's an old classic. Beer is,
but but you're right. I mean, one of the things I found that worked the best for me, with the podcast years ago, I had a shirt and on the front it just said, "Join the conversation." Yeah. And on the back, I had a giant QR code that said, "Scan this." And I had, for a while, I had to stop wearing it in public because it looked like people were taking pictures of my ass. That's great. But they were scanning the QR code.
That's hilarious.
And if people saw the front, they would ask me, "You join the conversation? What are we talking about?"
Right.
And I would tell them. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I learned, and I'm messing with it now as far as especially T-shirts, is different lines. And I'm going to start, I haven't put them all out there yet, but just on the front and possibly the QR code. Because if you just put conversations with richbennett.com on the back, people ain't going to remember that.
No.
They take out their phone. My wife and I, we just went to a home and garden craft show here in Timonium, and it's a huge one. And in front of each booth on the floor, there was a QR code. Mm-hmm. And I guess the people in charge of the event tied it to that business that was there. But I was surprised how many businesses didn't realize what that QR code was.
That's
for.
Crazy.
And I would scan. I said, if I'm interested in your company, I scan the QR code and it opens up right away on my phone, and I could save your website right there.
Yeah. You know what you could even do to your T-shirt on the
What's
back?
That?
You should just say,
put a frelk.
No, well, you could, but I think for your shirt, if you're going to do the QR thing, you should say, "Don't scan this."
Oh, I like that.
See, it's just a little touch. It's a little thing that makes it go from kind of, markety to interesting.
Yeah. I like that.
And then it's like a funny little challenge, and it's reverse psychology, and it's goofy. And if someone sees that on your back, that'll raise more eyebrows even.
Yeah, it's just like telling a kid not to do something. They're going to do it.
Right. Don't touch this button.
Hey, I do want to ask you about this because, and I fell into I got to tell you this story real quick. So the first radio station I worked at where I was selling advertising, it was a brand new station. And I went to a car dealership to, try to sell them on the station. And of course they're like, well, we never heard of you. Mm-hmm. I said, well, it's a brand new station. Well, we listen to this country station. I said, well, do me a favor for the next couple of weeks. When people come in, ask them how they heard about you.
Right.
I went back a couple of weeks later. General manager came up and thanked me, for running an ad for him. Mm-hmm. And he's going on and on. I said, well, I got news for you. I did not run an ad for you. Well, people kept saying they heard it on your radio station. I said, and the reason being is because it was a new station in that area. Mm-hmm. So people were listening to it. And they may have heard the ad on another station, but they remembered that radio station. So
yeah.
And I see this a lot and especially nowadays with display advertising on websites and everything, mm-hmm. I can see how many clicks and impressions it's getting. Uh-huh. But let's say the business that has the ad doesn't know if people are coming in on that.
Right.
What is there a trick, or what's the science, I guess you could say, behind finding out if a campaign is working and tracking the success of it? See if it's actually bringing people in.
Yeah. First of all, it's tough. Overall, I like to say science is hard. Science is hard. Yeah. Science is hard. Science is hard. Business is hard too. It's science. It's hard as fuck. You're right. Science is hard AF. And that's why, like, to take something from recent memory, the whole thing about masks and COVID,
right,
is because science is hard. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a time, do you remember everyone was wiping their hands and not touching the gas?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah,
like, and you were wiping down all your groceries when you got home from the store because you didn't know if you touched the wrong thing, you'd contract COVID.
But people were handling dollar bills like crazy.
Yeah. And then it was all the masks, and could a bandana work or not? Could you use a sock? Like, there were all these, because science is hard. So that's my first point, which gets to then this, what you call attribution. How do you attribute a sale to a marketing effort? Do you attribute that sale to the ad on the radio? Do you attribute that sale to a click on the website? Do you attribute that sale to maybe you got a billboard in town, or like a bus shelter, or the park bench you advertised on? What do you attribute the sale to? And that is hard as well. There are a lot of people who will sell you models about that and try and do media modeling or media mix modeling, I think it's called, MMMs. But it's hard because, just like you said, people don't know what they did and what they were exposed to. So if you ask someone, well, why'd you come into my shop? And they might say, well, because my friend Julie told me. But it might be because of the thing they saw on the bus shelter. Or it might have also been because they heard your ad on the radio.
Right.
Or they might say, oh, yeah, I heard you on the radio. Like you said, you weren't on that radio station.
Yeah.
You were on a different radio station. Or it wasn't even the radio. It was a banner ad that they saw on Instagram.
Or they may not even know, period.
Correct.
They could have been walking by.
So it is a hard problem to know what marketing caused the sale. And often it's not just one thing. So for instance, if you do any kind of marketing with Google or Facebook, they will take credit for the sale, even though what drove them to Google to begin with, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Might have been talking to their buddy. So it might have been talking to Margot, and Margot said, oh my God, I love this new mascara, blah, 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 blah. And then you go onto Google and you search for that mascara.
Right.
Google's going to claim they're the reason for the sale. But Margot was really the reason for the sale.
That makes sense, yeah.
The attribution problem is very hard. And so you got to be careful what especially if you do social. A lot of people do social. A lot of small businesses. If you're on Facebook claims credit for everything. You got to be careful because that's what, of course they'd say that.
Right.
You know, of course they'd claim it's them. Or Google, same thing. Of course they'll claim they're the reason. So it's hard. You got to know what you're measuring, and then you got to be careful when you ask people, because just like you pointed out, people don't remember what they had for breakfast last week, much less where they heard your ad.
Well, and the other thing with that too, and I don't know how you feel about this, and this is the marketing part. Some people, like, you'll see ads, you see them a lot in like the flyers that come in the mail and everything, where you get the coupon with it. Or on radio, it'll say, if you mention so-and-so, you'll get 10% off. Does that even work as well?
It can work. It's
tricky though, right?
It's tricky. And also what works for me might not work for thee.
Right.
So there's a guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V.
Oh, I love Gary V. Yes.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's a hustler, and he's really big on social media, and he's really big on online sales. One of the challenges I have with Gary V is that he believes what works for him works for everybody. So he is on the record many times as saying TV's dead. No one watches TV. No one watches TV. No one even owns TV. All they do is watch YouTube. And I've never seen anyone who watches TV anymore. Well, he's got to get out then. He's got to get out more, because plenty of people watch TV. I know.
Yeah.
But he believes that what worked for him is what's going to work for you.
Right.
And therefore, if you don't do what he does, then you're an idiot. And that's where the marketing science is helpful, because I can actually look at the data and say, wait. This is what we would call a lever, not a law. A lever is a coupon. A lever is social media posting 10 times a day, like Gary V does. Yeah. A lever is an ad on local TV for Frank Azar, strong arm of the law. Call 1-888-8888. Frank Azar will get you your money. Those are levers.
Give you a free pack of Charmin.
Yeah, totally. A free pack of Charmin. So a coupon might work for you. It might work great. Now, then again, if you make it a creative coupon, it might work even better.
Right.
IKEA, you know them, right? The furniture company. IKEA did a coupon once for a free crib. But here's the trick. You had to prove that that the baby was conceived on Valentine's Day.
How the hell?
Yeah, I don't know how you do it quite. Or it was something like, buy a free crib on Valentine's Day if you have your baby in this month of September.
Okay.
So it was some kind of creative way to connect Valentine's Day
Right.
to the coupon. But you gotta see if it works, and maybe it works for me, but it doesn't work for thee. And so coupons can work, but they're not guaranteed.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So with your business and the Frelk, I'm sorry, I just love it. Do you sell the shirts and everything on your website?
I do not yet have my Shopify up, but I'll send you some stuff. So you gotta send me your shirt size, and I'll send you some stickers and some merch.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about the business, Applied Brand Science. You offer workshops. Tell us a little bit about them.
I do two things. One of the things I do is I just literally help you with your brand. Right. So I got a great service I call the brand tune-up. You bring your brand into the shop. I put it up on the lift. We look under the hood. We check all the fluids. We see how your brand is doing. I fix some basic things. I change out the air filter on your brand, and then I tell you what other bigger repairs you might need. And that's like a couple $1,000. It's hopefully for, affordable for smaller companies who want their brand to get looked at. I also do much more large scale brand work for larger companies. Like I did a big thing with Whirlpool. I did a big thing with Lazy Boy.
Nice.
So if you're a larger company, you can bring me in and we can do a more serious brand fix. And then the other thing I do is I train. So I can train you on the brand science, and I can teach your team how branding works. And usually I do that right now for medium-sized companies that have some folks that need to get brand training. Maybe they're sales folks, or maybe they're retail folks, and they just don't quite understand the branding side. So I teach and train as well.
So if people want to get in touch with you and say, "Oh, we want to do this workshop, we need your help," how do they get in touch with you?
Call 1-888-8888. Ethan Decker, the strong arm of the law. No, that's not how you get in touch with me. The two places to reach me that are super easy. One of them is just the website, appliedbrandscience.com. I think I am going to put up frelk.com because I have that, and that's shorter.
Why not? Yeah.
So appliedbrandscience.com. That's the one. And then the other one is I'm on this place called LinkedIn quite a bit, which is like Facebook for nerds.
Hey, wait a minute now. LinkedIn is awesome.
It is. But I embrace my nerdiness.
You could say I'm a nerd. I think everybody's a nerd in
Rich,
some way or another.
Oh yeah. No, it's cool to be nerds now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. You can find me at E.H. Decker or Ethan Decker and just look for that, and you'll track me down. I post there quite a bit. I post little articles, and we have great conversations about branding and brand growth and brand laws.
Now, do you offer a newsletter on your website as well?
I do. Thanks for reminding me of that. Man, I should hire you. I do have a weekly newsletter, and you can sign up for it at appliedbrandscience.com/sign-up.
That's easy to remember. All right. So because now my listeners have been sending me questions to ask guests that come on. But before I get to maybe one or two of those questions, is there anything you would like to add?
No.
No?
No.
It was too damn easy.
I try to make it easy for you.
All right. So this one, and actually I've had this guy on my show. Awesome guy. His name's Kelvin Abrams. He wrote, I think the name of his book was Get Uncomfortable or Change Course. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But he wants to know, so what's your best strategy for making it through the tough times and weathering the storms?
One of the best strategies is to keep marketing. It's a little counterintuitive, but Kellogg versus General Mills, classic battle royale between the two big cereal companies. During the war, literally World War II, General Mills cut back on advertising and Kellogg didn't. And when they came out of the war, Kellogg was ahead by a long shot.
Yeah.
Mills has tightened up the race, and of course, times change. It's a long time ago. But do not stop advertising as best you can in tough times.
Okay.
Don't cut back on that. Try and cut back on other things. You might have austerity in other ways, not as much coffee for the staff, or cutting back on your parties or other things. But whatever you can, do whatever you can to keep the lights on with your advertising, with your promotion.
Some of these questions are scary. I don't know if I can't ask this one. It's stupid. You know what? We were talking about Charmin and everything else, and the Frelk. So this one comes from my son, Danny Bennett. Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized bears or 100 bear-sized ducks? I don't know where he comes up with this shit.
I'd say that's a great question. Thank you, listener, for that question. 10 duck-sized bears, absolutely. I think them being smaller makes them just that much less lethal. I think
you can step on them.
Yeah, bear-sized ducks seem scary as hell. Scary AF.
I love that. All right, so my last question for you, and you can't answer it with what you already said about the book.
All right.
What is the next big thing for Ethan Decker?
Outside of a book.
Right.
The next big thing for me is probably spooling up some new cocktail recipes.
Wait a minute, what?
I have a little little garage bar for my
come
friends
on
and
now.
my neighbors.
Ethan.
I have a couple hundred bottles, really interesting stuff. And it's too much for me to drink alone. So that's why I bring over my friends. And so we call it Pits and Stems because all the cool bars have an ampersand in their name, Death and Co., Colt and Gray. And so I have a little garage bar. My buddies come by. So you're going to have to come out to Colorado.
Careful what you say because my son goes out there a lot.
All right. Well, he should come. He can DJ the next event.
What's one of your favorite bourbons?
Oh man. Well, I do like Buffalo Trace.
Oh, you can never go wrong with Buffalo Trace.
It's a solid, well bourbon for me.
Yeah.
At the upper end, I'm really into a company here in Denver called Leopold Brothers. They're a craft distillery, and I am blessed because I think they're maybe the best craft distillery in the whole country, and they're right here in my backyard. And they make some incredible bourbons. So if you can ever get your hands on some Leopold Brothers 8-year straight bourbon whiskey, get it because it's delicious.
Now, do you guys... All right, so I lied. That was not my last question because I had no idea about, the bar out in the garage. And that's one of my trades. I'm actually a professional mixologist too, even though I haven't thought, and it seems like old fashions are back big time.
You're right.
Have you ever tried one it's a brand called Filthy Cherries? They're black cherries, and oh my God, if you can find them online, but they're great.
Black cherries.
when you make old fashions, do you prefer rye or bourbon?
Well, I personally prefer rye.
Okay.
And again, Leopold has a Maryland style rye, which is amazing. Whistle Pig has some really beautiful stuff. Oh my God. Whistle Pig 10 is great, but I'll do whatever my buddies want. If my friends, my guests prefer bourbon, I make a bourbon old fashioned.
Yeah.
And then frankly, just between us, if no one's listening, I much prefer a Manhattan to an old fashioned.
A smoked Manhattan, especially.
A smoked Manhattan's great. I like a forest Manhattan. I like a winter Manhattan, which is basically you start subbing some of the sweet vermouth with other stuff. You can put in Amaro, which makes it incredible. You can put in here's a crazy twist, banana liqueur.
Ooh.
For a jungle Manhattan. You do 50, it's like 2 ounces of bourbon,
Right.
and then a half ounce of sweet vermouth and a half ounce of banana liqueur. And most people, I do that to people and they can't identify the flavor. They're like, this is amazing. What is that flavor? And then I say it's banana and they go, holy shit, it's banana. So it's really cool. But that kind of stuff. I love a Manhattan because it's it's not just bourbon with a little bit of bitters and sugar. It's got some more complexity.
All right, so now I got to get you on again.
We're going to need to do another episode on this,
And
man.
the one guy that asked the question, Kelvin Abrams,
okay,
because he has a doggy daycare, and next to it he has it's a bourbon bar.
Nice.
So I'll have to get him on. We'll do I've never done this. A round table on cocktails. That could be
yes, I'm in. I'm
All right.
100% in. Cocktails and branding.
Yes. I mean, some of the best out there.
That'd be so fun. We could talk about all the different bourbon brands and the spirits brands and the bars.
And you got to get the Whistle Pig maple syrup too.
Oh, Whistle Pig makes really good maple syrup.
Yeah, and mix that with the bourbon. A bourbon what is it? They have the drink. It's a maple. I think it's the Whistle Pig maple old fashioned.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm getting thirsty and hungry.
All right, dude.
Ethan, thanks a lot, man.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going.